Thank you so much for coming. I know you guys are all busy people, and thank you for the opportunity. The Hawaiian Islands occur in one of the most isolated places on the planet. And in kind of a strange coincidence, they're also some of the tallest volcanoes in the Pacific. And they've been here since great antiquity, about 80 million years. So when the first Hawaiian Islands came up, dinosaurs were roaming the continents. So it's perfect storm is often overrated as an analogy, but it is a perfect storm of conditions. I usually say on a planet the size of Earth, there's only a place for one Hawaii. In pre-contact Maui, forests covered the place. You could have walked all around Maui and never come out into the sun. Where we're here now, forests covered this place. People in the upper, you're probably in the canopy of the upper forest here. I think that's an important thing, and it's this antiquity and isolation that stopped the mammals from getting here, and that created a special situation where the birds ruled the world, and they became everything. They became the grazers, they were the buffaloes. These are actually Julian Sprang's work from the Smithsonian, but showing herds of ducks, like bison, roaming our little forest here. The last living representative is the nene, which most people know about. But they also had the predators too. There were eagles, hawks, owls, all manners of birds. The Honeycreepers are an amazing group of songbirds. You know, if you go island hopping around the Pacific, you usually see a certain set of birds. There'll be a thrush, and a couple of parrots, and this and that. But only in Hawaii are you going to see this giant assemblage of small little honeycreepers. It's because of the isolation. The isolation has created this opportunity. It's a crucible here. And this is world renowned for what they're calling adaptive radiation in this group. This is the a'kohekohe, a bird that was actually probably once all the way to the shores and is now restricted to the upper forests of Maui. This is the Maui that none of us know, at least in potential vegetation. So the upper part has all these green of the rainforest, but the lower part has all these bands of forest that cover Maui. In the next slide, non-native vegetation will be shown in red, and that's in our current day. That's the probably antipodal side of having such a high biological and isolation away, and such a splendid isolation that things were created here that occurred nowhere else, is that when the things got here, the grazers, the predators, they started to revert the thing, and there was a great falling that happened here on Maui. And that's been evident in our watersheds. These next pictures are pictures of southern Haleakala watersheds. This is actually the new national park at Nu'u. One of my kumus, Wayne Gagne, called this Hawaii's tragic dismemberment. Almost all the eroded watershed lands in the Hawaiian archipelago occur on Maui. And koa trees about to tumble into the sea. Kind of a sad picture here, but I'll give you a little story. I always say information is a dangerous thing, and even learning names is a dangerous thing. It was the beginning of my voyage, just learning the names of things. This is the po'ouli, a group of birds that was discovered in the 80s by university students. And as soon as they were discovered, they were on the edge of extinction. And just within this last year or so, the last male bird died. This is this mounted skeleton, or mounted piece from the Smithsonian. I'll switch over to southern Haleakala and to a place, Auwahi, that I know very well. And I know it a lot because the picture isn't really well set here, but there's a young man here, there's two people here. There's a Hawaiian man at the base of this picture, and then there's Joseph Rock. Joseph Rock was from Austria, he was a botanist, and he was probably the first one to say, wow, look at what has happened here in Hawaii. And the Hawaiian man here is William Kaio Kamalie, and one of the first Hawaiian botanists. William and Joseph had a profound relationship And William taught Joseph many of the trees. And it was through Joseph Rock's books that we know about Auwahi. In searching through the Hawaiian Islands, Joseph Rock said he only saw 2 forests that were as rich as Auwahi. And one on the Big Island, Pu'uva'a. He went off and he did his explorations in China for many years. Oh, a little bit more about the ethnobotany of Auwahi. Just that my former kumu, Isabella Abbott, called the Evahapana, sacred places. Almost all the trees here are known for something: medicine, tool making, canoe building, house building, kapa. Everything has a use. This is the forest that Joseph Rock returned back to when he returned. He went to China for 30 years, returned back in the 50s, and when he said to have saw this forest, he said to have fallen to his knees and wept at the condition of it. When I first did surveys here with colleagues, we called this a museum forest, coining the term for a museum because just like a museum, there were so many things that were found nowhere else, but nothing really was alive. None of the trees had really reproduced in over 100 years. That situation I was just a young man at the time, and at that time there was a kind of almost an antagonistic relationship between ranch owners and biologists. But I started to talk to the Erdman family who owned the land, and they kind of have a rebel attitude and a willingness to try things. And so we kind of formed a little team here to try to do something. Even if we failed, we felt that was the best thing to do. We came up with a plan. Let's build a house. Let's build a house around the trees with their native shrubs, and let's see what happens. I can remember when we first started to plant them out, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I told people, I'll never see the end of this. I did do some things right. I made the fence a perfect square. It was hard to do. But I didn't want anybody ever to mistake it for a natural feature. And I told people, one day I won't be here, but you're going to be flying an Aloha Airlines jet over here, and you're going to look down and you're going to see a square. And you're going to say, who waters that square? Well, this is a Google Earth picture of our exclosure. I'm a better ecologist than I am a business manager. Aloha Airlines isn't here anymore. But I'm pretty proud of our work. And I'm also proud I made it a square. Let me show you a few pictures of this. If you look into the background too, we started off with 10 acres. And we kind of finished the 10 acres, we went on to another 20 acres, and now with the Erdman's help, just giving away land, we're on another 150 acres. I'm a specialist in dryland forest, one of the people in the Hawaiian Islands who's supposed to know them the best, but as every year goes by, I know the forest less and less. They're kind of marching back in time to the way they used to be. Sometimes plants try to make a jailbreak, and they jump out of the fence. But it's kind of actually almost sad because the fences are patrolled constantly by the things that made it that way in the first place. So sometimes endangered species jump out of the fence. I see them and I say, you really should be back in the fence. And then maybe in a month or two, they're gone. A little boring graph, but this shows some 86. When we started off, we had about 87% non-natives, and that really declined. And now we're down at about non-natives go to about 7%, and they're probably not going to go anywhere after that. Natives, non-natives, plants from out of here are just a part of life now. But the good thing for me is that we're heading to our new place where natives are coming back and leaf litter is coming back, signs of a healthy ecosystem. The Hawaiian word is uluwehi. And then when the seeds start to produce, now this is the shocking thing for me. Now, I think a lot of people were surprised that the plants grew. And I had, of course, my doubts too, and hopes. But there was something really neat that happened after that. I say the trees forgave us. Many of them started to have babies of their own. Okay? First, it was the common things. And people would say, oh, well, I expected that. And then it was the rarer things. And then they really started to come. Okay. It's the kind of thing that for a biologist, I always tell people, if you go to some shopping center and you only see old people, there's something wrong with that. It's what we call an unbalanced stand structure. A population is supposed to have babies and young people and older people, and that's a healthy population. So we have gone from a museum forest to kind of a CPR effort, a kind of a brave effort, and it's working. These are jalapepe. I know they look like just little green sprouts, but to me, they give me joy. Because in our little 10 acres, there's now more baby jalapepe than there probably are in the rest of Maui, probably in the rest of Hawaii. Yeah, it is something. It is something really cool, because you can plant something and you can do your part, but when you do your part and something else responds, it's an amazing feeling. It's actually momentum. Now the sandalwoods have started to come. People often talk about the sandalwood forests, and they're almost impossible to grow. Okay, many of the plants here don't do well in nurseries. It's almost like outplanting them is almost like releasing them. And then they really thrive. And now we're starting to have Kiki of sandalwoods come up. If you kind of put your hand up over here, this is where we started. That's what it was when we started, and many people were saying, oh, Art, give up. And then this is where we're headed. And I won't be here for that next stage, but I'm hopeful that this forest now becomes 40, 50 feet. It's not just about creating hard-to-get-to botanical gardens. I work for a research outfit, and now we're trying to, are we bringing back function? Are the forests starting to treat water a different way? Are they holding water better? Are they purifying it? We don't really have the results in, but things are looking pretty cool. For a 10-year-old forest, there are really starting to be profound differences, and you rarely have this kind of comparison. Okay, now for an epiphany for me. When I started this, I just wanted help saving the plants, and I was trying to get the help of people. I really didn't appreciate people that much. To me, I just thought that they were helping me. And then something happened in me, kind of an epiphany. I'm going to play a little video here from Jonathan and Kaliko Spencer about a trip up at Auwahi. This is our typical planting trip. I'm amazed at all the good-hearted people that come. We haven't had an empty seat in like 3.5 years. Everybody always comes to help the mountain, but I always tell people that no one ever helped the mountain as much as the mountain helped them when they left. It's this idea of how do you feel when you help somebody across the street? Oh, they need the help. And then what if that person is a Hawaiian kupuna? How do you feel? I told people you should be honored to lift a stone. Okay, it's part of our work. So we do it every month. We gather together. I used to fear them because I'm a shy person. I'd have to meet 30, 40 new people. Now I so look forward to them because it actually gives me hope in humanity. There's not really much else in my life that does, being honest. I could watch television, and I really don't get that much hope out of there. But when I meet those 30 to 40 people, it's a profound and concrete feeling that Maui cares. We meet, we go up, we usually spend the day. For people who don't know how to spend the day in the mountains, it's a really new experience. Are we going to spend the whole day here? And I really like to see that evolution to those same people at the end of the day saying, do we have to go? I'm not done yet. We don't do any make-work programs. I don't believe in giving people unimportant work. I already know that it's important. So my job is to get that experience in the hands of other people. This young woman is planting actually one of the rarest plants in the world. Only 30 plants are known from Kanaio. Okay? I gave her the Kiki, and I know that little moment when she put it in the ground was profound for her. That means more to me than myself putting it, of course. And then the beautiful people. And that feeling at the end of the day, that incredible feeling. That Hawaiian man, there wasn't a really good image there, but in that photograph, but that Hawaiian man, this is his great-grandson, Ainoa Ki'o. He works for me now. And if the generation wasn't more secure than it could be, this is Kala'au, the great-granddaughter of that man in the picture. A really strong-minded, she's one of our best planters. And you read the t-shirt, my mom and dad made me solid. Okay? So you're looking at a future land manager for Haleakala. Okay, I'll talk about something that at first was sad, an Nalani. This was always a symbol of sadness for me in extinction, but it became a symbol of hope. Oh, this individual, excuse me, this is the last individual in the world. The species was thought to be extinct, and I found one more plant. And at one point, I was the only one who knew where it was. And then I passed on that information to people, and I told them, you know what? I may not be here, but you have responsibility now. You're not Noah. You're not free. You have kuleana. You know where this plant is. It's now your responsibility. Being wrong again, I didn't think we would get to the point. Kale Suha helped us with protocol in planting out Kiki. We always try to incorporate, of course, protocol into everything we do. And that wonderful moment after protocol and all that good feeling when the hands rush around, no one says anything. This is that seedling 3.5 years later. And the picture says a lot because it's probably my epiphany. Is 10 years ago, I would have said, look at that plant. And now I say, look at that man who cares for the plant. Keahi Bustamante, wonderful young Hawaiian man. Another example when I'm wrong, a super rare plant, the hole. I said, oh, we'll never see a lei of this. This is a beautiful, like Pukaki. We'll never see a lei of this in my lifetime. Until the volunteers brought me one. Once again, just the pride I feel in my change, in just seeing pride in young men. I was always so uncertain of my job. Is this all going to be worth it? Maybe I should retire and make real money somewhere. And it's working with actually young men that has reinvigorated my own career. And working with the whole Maui community. I tell people, if you're in Maui, you should be part of the Army. And if you're not part of the Army and you don't know what I'm talking about, then maybe you should become a little more educated. Our group has only gotten more powerful, 1,700 members. But I don't like to talk about the group. I like to think of the mission as being most important. We're not club-carrying members. We're just trying to do our part to protect Maui. And now, of course, I also like to work with young people. And the Hawaiian expression that I always think of when I see this picture is Malie pa ki'ikiunu, pa kapa'ako'olea ole ka'a. Perhaps it is the little rock that stops the big stone from falling down. I kind of have a little prepared ending. If we're to be successful in restoring our Hawaiian watersheds, responsible science, I'm a scientist, so responsible science is going to have to play a key role. We are in no analog times. There have never been times like this here. And new ways of doing business are now required of us. We need to develop and test new ways to achieve our goals. And responsible science is a science that does not serve itself, but instead dreams for the people, anticipates, tests, reports, and serves the people and enhances the places we live in. One of my heroes, Jeff Park, always says, at this point in the degradation of nature, the last fragments are unimportant compared to the hearts and minds of people. Because without the hearts and minds of people, the last fragments don't stand a chance. So we try to unite culture, community, hope, and a desire to restore our Hawaiian watersheds. Hawaiian watershed forests like Auwahi, they're literally the last stand for Hawaii's what one scientist called the marvels of evolution. And to me, at a time when Hawaiian culture is being renaissanced, it's also the last stand for the kino lau, the manifestations of our cultural icons, and it's also the source of our drinking water. And to me, I guess an important part of that is also hope. Science, community, culture. You know, here, these are words, but here on Maui, we prepared ourselves for doing that impossible turn and turning the canoe around and restoring our watersheds. And I'm proud of the work that we've done here. So thank you so much.